Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen. In today's video, I wanted to go and share with you guys the books that I read during the month of December. So December, I didn't quite read as much as I wanted to, but I still read a total of 6 books, which is pretty great because that's my average per month. So I read some amazing books in the month of December. I think I ended the year with a great selection of books that I read, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's go ahead and get started with the books that I read. Alright, so the first 2 books that I read during the month of December was a duology, and it was Empress of a Thousand Skies plus the sequel Blood of a Thousand Stars. I read Empress of a Thousand Skies back in 2017. It was a BIBLIO Squad's book pick of the month and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So I've been wanting to read the sequel for the longest time. I had bought it back when it first came out, but I just kept putting it off and I never read it. So I ended up rereading Empress of a Thousand Scars because I just felt like I'd forgotten a lot of the details about it and I just didn't want to go into this book without rereading this book. And I love the series. It is a sci-fi book set in outer space. It is all about this girl who is the last living member of her dynasty. She's basically the royal family. Her family were the royalty that oversaw this galaxy, but her family was tragically murdered, and so she was the next in line to take the throne, and a lot of things happened. And I thought this book was just a lot of fun, really entertaining, and I loved how the book how the series kind of wrapped up itself. I did feel like the series in general had a lot of plot holes. I wasn't very crazy about the main character because I thought she was a little annoying at times and sometimes she made really dumb decisions. However, there was a second main character. His name is Alyosha and I loved him. I really connected with him. He was someone that was discriminated against based on his race, and I really felt for him and I really connected with him, and I thought he was a great character and I loved how his story ended. So I did rate both of these books 4 stars. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. And then the next book that I read is an excellent book. I love this book so much, and it was Always and Forever Lara Jean. This was the final book in the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy, and I loved how this series wrapped up. I love Jenny Han's story. I rated this book 4.5 stars. I loved it. My only thing is I felt disappointed by the ending. I just felt like it was very lackluster. It just, like, every single book with Jenny Han, I really loved it. Like all the books in this series, I really loved. It's just the ending was kind of like disappointing. It was kind of a letdown because I feel like I feel like they're just not very interesting the way she ends her books. That's just my opinion. I read the series because the movie on Netflix came out, and I'm so glad that I did because otherwise I don't think I ever would have picked up the series, but I'm really glad that I did because this was amazing. I loved it. I think Lara Jean, she's just such an adorable character. She's very relatable. I just connect with her so much, and I love her to pieces, and I love the family dynamic in the series, and I love her and Peter's relationship. I enjoyed this book overall. I just felt let down by the ending. I just feel like it deserved to be more than it was. And then the next book that I read was What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. This was actually the Once Upon a Read-Alongs book pick of the month for the month of December. Besides the fact that it was a book pick of the month, I never would have picked up this book otherwise. The plot line just didn't seem that interesting. While I have read books by Becky Albertalli before, I wasn't interested in reading this book at all, and I was still going to read it because books that I haven't been interested in before, when I read it, I ended up being blown away by it. Lumine was one of those books. It was just a book that I just didn't want to read, and I ended up loving that series. And Amber in the Ashes, again, a book that I just didn't want to read. I didn't feel like reading, and it ended up blowing me away. They're 2 of my favorite books of all time now. Even though I was not excited to read this book, I was expecting to be blown away by this book, especially because my good friend Chloe from the Brunette Bibliophile really loved this book. But I was kind of like let down a little, even though my expectations weren't that high to begin with. I didn't see what was so special about the book, to be perfectly honest. I'm sorry for those of you who have loved this book. There were 2 main characters. There's Ben and there's Arthur, and I thought Arthur was, to be honest, very annoying. I feel like the authors tried to make him cute and adorable, and he was, but it got to the point where he just became really annoying to me, and I felt like him and Ben they're so different, and I felt like there was no chemistry between the two of them, and I felt like the authors really tried to make us like them together, and I just felt like I felt forced, to be perfectly honest, and I thought the book was boring, and I feel like there was something that happens with Arthur, and he kind of has to go away at the end of the summer, and I feel like the authors tried to build up that drama for absolutely no reason, just to kind of keep the plot of the story going, and it was just unnecessary. And so I was really let down by this book. I rated it a 3.5 stars, but honestly it's like hovering around that 3 to 3.5 star rating. And then the next book that I read during the month of December was Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This was actually my wrapped book for the month of December, and it just so happens that the movie on Netflix came out about this book, and I have to say I loved both. So I really loved this book. I was surprised by how much I loved this book. This was one of my wrapped books because it's been sitting on my shelf for the longest time and I didn't feel like reading it, and I finally unwrapped it in the month of December and I read it and I loved it, and I gave this book 4.5 stars. It is all about this girl. She is what you would consider a fat girl, and her mother, she was a former beauty pageant queen, and she oversees every year the beauty pageant at her town, and so she feels like she has a lot to live up to in regards to beauty standards. Not 100% comfortable, but she's comfortable enough in her own skin, and she decides to go ahead and enter the pageant that year. I love this book so much. I have read some of the criticism in regards to this book. A lot of people feel like this is not body positivity, even though it kind of makes it seem like it is, and I understand those criticisms. I still love this book so much, and I really love the movie as well. I feel like Netflix did a great job with the movie. I thought it was really well done in capturing the message of the book. I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars. Alright, and then the final book that I read during the month of December was A Sucky Love Story by Brittany Louise Taylor. So Brittany Louise Taylor, in case you guys don't know, is a very popular YouTuber. She does like vlogging style videos. Like, she used to do a lot of videos a long time ago with Shane Dawson, and that's how I knew about her. I used to watch a lot of Shane Dawson videos, and therefore I used to watch a lot of her videos because they used to do a lot of videos together. But over the years I stopped watching her videos, but then she came up on my recommended list like in 2017, and I started watching her videos all over again, and I found out that she was engaged and pregnant, and I was really happy for her, and I started rewatching her videos, and I rediscovered my love for her channel. I really enjoy her humor and things like that. And then I noticed that as I was watching her videos over the past year or so since I rediscovered her, is that she took away all of her videos in regards to her fiance. And so we didn't know what until she released an announcement that she was writing a book into regards as to what happened to her fiance, and that she was a victim of domestic violence. So I was curious, and I decided to read the book. I rented it from the library, and I did not rate this book. I just personally don't feel comfortable rating books that are based on true story. It's her story to tell. I'm going to treat it as if it's 100% true. I do have criticisms in regards to this book though. First off, the writing is very bad. She doesn't have a one-track mind. She has a mind that goes in a million different directions, and that's how I felt reading the book. So she's telling us one thing, but one thing about that story reminds her of something that happened, and she goes on into a tangent and she starts telling us a different story before wrapping that story up and coming back to the original story. So the story is all over the place. It's messy writing, but one thing that I do like about the writing is the fact that I did feel like I was watching her tell me the story, like I was listening to her telling me the story. But as I was reading the book, I just felt like it was her voice. She was telling me. If you watch her videos and you read her book, it's the same thing. She's not a one-track mind. She kind of veers off, and that's how it felt reading the book. The things that happen to her are crazy. I will not spoil you as to what happened, but it's absolutely crazy what happened to her, and you know, it just goes to show you that it can happen to anyone, you know what I mean? Overall, I don't have any feelings in regards to this book besides the fact that the writing sucks, because I just don't feel like it's my place to put any feelings in this book, to have any feelings to this book. I merely read this book because I wanted to know what happened to her, because I'm nosy and I wanted to know. But I'm glad that she's in a safe place now. I'm glad she and her son are in a safe place now, that they're away from this dangerous man, and I wish her all the luck in the world. If you guys are interested in reading, I would recommend it, especially if you really enjoyed watching her videos and if you really care about what happened to her. Yeah, I would recommend reading her book and see what you think. And there you go, guys. There it is, all of the books that I read during the month of December. I had a great reading month. The lowest rated book that I read during this month was a 3.5 stars, so I think that's pretty good. I read some pretty interesting books and some amazing books. I have some high expectations for the rest of the year. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you'd like to follow me. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day, guys, and keep reading. Bye!